We keep.
Woo! And we're live.
Yeah, well, I'm scooting the chair back a little bit because I'm too.
Well,
close
luckily
to
nobody's here yet.
the table leg.
It's our time.
It's before the rambling.
Before the people's come in.
Rambling, man.
I had to go take. I didn't see if the drip was taken care of.
Okay. I think I forgot that. Is anybody with you? Is anybody there? Ooh, is anybody out there? Who is filing in? Wow. Of course, my phone's a little behind, so. What else?
What's up, Charlena?
Oh, hey, Charlena.
How are you doing today? It's our Maniac Monday, which we'll be getting into some fun stuff. Or Mental Monday, sorry. Dude, they're starting to blend together. All my Mondays are one.
The Mondays always blend.
That's how mental it is, man.
Mental
So Mental Monday, I'm sorry.
Monday. Bob and Tone are watching you. They're watching us. I think I'm out there. Are you out there?
Thanks, Charlena. Yeah, we're going back out to that location again tomorrow.
We're trying to get a better idea because there's not much on it, but it's on that map and there's not much else on that. So it was very well hidden or very well forgotten.
Yeah, so we think we might have a better zeroing in point to go to. So we're going to check that out tomorrow and hopefully come back to you guys with some better information.
Cheers.
Cheers, sir.
It should be as packed because it's during a week.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Sundays are not fun days whenever it's the hiking.
We didn't mind where we parked because it was kind of cool. Afterwards, we sat on the bench and drank some brewskis and relax for a little bit before we went back home.
Yeah. Hey, Bob, welcome. And glad you're tuning in from Washington State.
Oh, that's a very nice area up there.
Yeah.
And it'll be a little bit closer. Maybe won't be as tired because, I don't mind when we get to the actual dirt and grime and soft ground. But when I get to pavement, man, I start lagging. I hate pavement.
Well, it's a little harder for sure. And it's just definitely harder on your joints and your feet and everything.
Oh, yeah.
But we were moving through there pretty quick. We were out there for hours and hours, and we had a lot of fun. And for everybody, HAC, and everybody who checked it out, we really appreciate that. Mm-hmm. It was a fun time looking for it. We feel we were really close, but there's just another area we really want to check out before we say what we're really thinking with what we found,
Everyone responded to that one I posted last night. It's that creepy tree memorial with stones and sticks.
Yep.
Yeah, it was kind of creepy because somehow, we're going to do it, go back out, like he said, try to see if we can pinpoint. If not, that might, I know back then the Native Americans just didn't make one.
Yeah, it was a series of mounds.
And they didn't actually, they live close, but not too close.
And real quick, to anybody who didn't see what we were talking about yesterday, we had a live stream we did, but we also were out there for a number of hours.
Oh, good Lord.
We were in the Cuyahoga Valley National Park looking for a Native American burial ground.
Yep.
Or burial mound that was supposed to be out there. We thought we were within the certain area, but we feel like we want to check another spot out. So we're going to go out tomorrow and check it out again.
But I keep, I've been watching a lot of on and off of burial mounds around Ohio. And I almost got they talk about the flat top sometimes, the flat top. And then almost like I told you, we was talking about earlier, how it seemed like there was probably used to be stairs or a path, but it was all It was pretty
the path
solid.
went up and over the hill for sure.
And it got flat. When
Yeah.
when you were sitting down, when I went over to walk, it was all flat.
Yeah.
Flat. And the rest of them seemed kind of roundish, but they still could have been, It's just very awkward in that area.
So that was definitely what we were getting into, yesterday. And it's going to be what we're getting into tomorrow as well. But it's Mental Monday. We have a lot of fun stories around the corner for some stuff just related to the mind, the psyche, some things of that nature. I know we were talking on Friday's show about if you guys had, some stuff you wanted to bring to the show for Mental Monday, you could bring some stuff along. So don't be afraid to share that at any point throughout the show. Leave it in the comments or message it to us and we'll take care of that. We've got I know I've got a couple stories. I know Chris has got a couple of things he's definitely going to be getting onto a little bit later.
Yes.
For the time being, though, we're going to go ahead and do our tarot card shuffle and get that all taken care of. So our Friday, the high priest, or the high priestess. That was such a good pull. It was very positive, and it gave us a good insight and a good message. Yep. And we carried that energy into Sunday. And dude, both of us were so energetic going into Sunday in that investigation, and just looking for that mound, and even outside of just looking for the mound, just taking in the hiking, because it's so amazing. Both of us are into hiking as well, and it's so much fun to check that all out.
Being hilarious. I was getting one with the nature because of this long-legged person. I can't hop over logs like that. You see me kind of really getting close to nature with trees.
Yeah, you're definitely gripped on that one tree.
Yeah, I was getting one with my tree hugging in a different way. But anyway. Bob Tones has a question. Do you have any local Wendigo or hide behind stories as of recent?
Not anything that I've seen pop up. I always check out. There's a couple of they're mainly Bigfoot's sites and forums that I check out, but they talk about all the different stuff, and I always check them for the Ohio sections and stuff.
Oh, weird.
Yeah. So, and there's different things that I've checked that reported that, but nothing recently that have popped up. There were some recent Bigfoot stuff that popped up, and I went out to Mogador, which is outside of the Akron-Canton area, and I checked out some stuff there, and I didn't have anything that I could say was a significant experience, but I was trying to search for something out there. But nothing Wendigo related, unfortunately.
No, unfortunately. And even yesterday, we had a strange, loud crack in the woods somewhere. And you said something, you might have saw something up in there, up in them hills.
Yeah.
I mean, and I was last week, I was out trying to find some really off the beaten path abandoned trucks in the park. Then I was hearing a bunch of weird noises as well. Not I could tell that if they're animal or not, but Bigfoots, man, I think they're out there, but they're not coming out as much because there's still not enough cover.
On a location like that, like we were talking about, it wouldn't, if it was, the Bigfoot known in the way of the natural being where it only operates as the same physics as man. It'd be hard in certain locations like that because of the amount of traffic that goes through there. But if we're talking about, the Bigfoot with the theory that's been popping up in more recent times, with it being an interdimensional being, it could go to whatever park, and a park like that is a beautiful place to hang out for a while. So, you never know what kind of things you could be popping up to. There's tons of different stuff related to all these creatures. But Ohio already has so many of its own creatures that have popped up. We've talked about the Loveland Frogman, the Melonheads, and Mothman had some touching downs in the Ohio area and everything. Yep. So, would you go ahead and shuffle it up, put some intention in there?
Tracy says there is a burial mound behind a gas station in the town of Tiltonsville, Ohio, just a little one. And everyone's saying hi. What is Charlena says, what is a Wendigo? Got it.
Already on it, Charlena. Okay, she's so just to give the actual proper description, because I'm sometimes terrible at describing it. Yep. Before I even look at that, how I would describe it is a humanoid deer were creature beast. That's probably the best way I could say it with the simplest terms. But let's get the proper one. A Wendigo is a mythological creature or evil spirit from the folklore of the first natural Algonquin tribes based in the northern forests of Nova Scotia, the east coast of Canada, and Great Lakes regions of Canada and the United States. So we're from Ohio.
So it's probably
Lake Erie is one of the Great Lakes. So it's one of those areas where
it could be a possible.
Some things could pop up and everything. The Wendigo is described as a monster with some characteristics of a human, or as a spirit who has possessed a human being and made them become monstrous. Its influences is said to invoke acts of murder, unstable greed, cannibalism, and cultural taboos against such behavior. The creature lends its name to the controversial modern medical term Wendigo psychosis, described by psychiatrics. I don't know why I'm struggling on that one. As a cultural bound syndrome with symptoms such as intense cravings for human flesh and fear of becoming a cannibal. In some indigenous communities, environmental destruction and insatiable greed are also seen as a manifestation of Wendigo psychosis. The folklore, let me see if it can give a quick description.
This was started around the Native American time. They have a lot of descriptions of a Wendigo as well.
Yeah, but just imagine for the description, you guys have seen goat-legged creature. Anytime Satan's shown in like a certain form, he's usually shown to have like goat legs and stuff. So the Wendigo has the hooved, like goat-like feet. It has very long, drawn out. So imagine like very long werewolf arms, but even more drawn out to where like they could almost drag on the ground if it was lazy. It has a like open torso like area and like exposed areas, and like sometimes they're supposed to be like smell like rotting flesh because it's kind of a dead creature in a sense. And they're known to have antlers, and the face changes sometimes. There's some like horse heads reported sometimes. Deer faces reported sometimes. There's even been like wolf and like goat faces reported in some instances. But like the antlers and horns are definitely a common
one of
trait.
those interdimensional things or crypt. Yeah, interdimensional.
Yeah, the interdimensional stuff is definitely very weird. But that's what the Wendigo is. And what we'll do is we'll make sure we put a post. I'll personally do it. I'll put a post up tomorrow about the Wendigo, so you guys can read a little bit more about that.
And that'll probably be in the afternoon since we'll be out in the morning.
Yeah, we'll be out in the morning. It'll be a little bit later than our typical posting times.
I mean, if we find something, we'll go live. If we really don't, but we'll go try something at least.
We're going to try to figure something out.
Yep. Or try something else. It shouldn't be too bad since there's not going to be a lot of people and we're going to be closer. So I don't think we're going to be as tired.
Oh, shit. All right, cutting the deck.
Charlena says stuff of nightmares. Pretty much.
Oh, so we got the King of Oysters in the reverse position. So let's see what that says.
Didn't we have that before, or is that?
No, we haven't got that one yet.
Oh, okay. Sounds familiar.
We had the 5 of Oysters, I think, or maybe something like that.
Huh. Another oyster.
More oyster talk.
Which aren't too bad if they're boiled.
Okay. So, the King of Oysters in the reverse position, corruption and collusion, a danger, faithlessness, going for ends without consideration of means. I don't know what that one means for us right now.
Maybe it's for the followers.
I don't know.
That's a hard one. And
we've been pushing forward on a lot of stuff with the show, which we've felt like is nothing of but good stuff. Yeah.
no.
Neither of us is working with anybody else to collude against the other one.
No.
I'm not trying to leverage the household to get you like, voted off the island. I don't know.
And I do my explores on the side.
Yeah.
When we're not doing stuff, and
you keep to your own stuff. I've got other things I've got to stay to and stuff. So we keep that stuff split up. So
oh yeah, we keep that separate from this page. I know we got the same amount of friends, and one leads into the other.
I don't know. It might be these guys.
Dudes,
we have a theory that these
up.
guys all hang out now because we have so many figures and the skeleton crew up there, and
even
we got some ghosts and all the different stuff.
Dum Dum and Bonehead are probably in the party now.
Yeah, there's a whole story we make up sometimes about these guys, because sometimes we'll come down and like one will be spilled out on the floor over here, and one will have fallen off over here, and it's just like, all right, come on, this guy's laid out, passed out.
The skeletons seem to be still in place of their own.
They've been doing pretty good since we've moved them recently. Yeah.
Yep. So
I put a little revolver in the Outlaws.
Yep.
Thing because he didn't have a revolver, and if you have a holster, you have to have a revolver. That's just the rules. And definitely the stuff of nightmares, Charlena. Definitely the stuff of nightmares.
You guys did any of your homework that we told? If the ones that are here Friday.
Yeah, I think it was here Friday, near the end of the show. It was like right near the last 15 minutes or so of the show.
We gave you a weekend.
Yeah. We asked if you guys want to throw some stories out. I'll start us off with one. It's a pretty quick one.
Go ahead. Time to a tribal council. Yeah, council.
So,
yes,
there was a man in Morocco, and he became a serial killer who did his work in the late 1800s.
Okay, go ahead. Continue.
And he died in 1906. He was known to have killed at least 36 women. His name was Mohammed Mesfoui, and he was one of the most notorious Moroccan serial killers. Mm-hmm. The thing that I want to relate to the Mental Monday is the way they decided to kill him. So his execution was supposed to have taken place on May 2nd of 1906. That was supposed to be his crucifixion date. They were going to crucify him. But the diplomats considered it too much of a, gruesome way to kill somebody. They didn't want to crucify him. So on June 11th of 1906, they had him walled in June 11 of 1906. So not much later. May to June's not too much of a time. It's a couple months. Yeah. Or like about a month. Yeah. May, June. Yeah. So a month later, they had him walled. So what walled is they put you in a small enclosed space. Imagine like the size of a small prison cell. Mm-hmm. And then they just brick up the entrance. They just completely seal off the entrance. And his screams were said to have heard for 2 days. And then once they heard him stop screaming, or they didn't hear any screaming anymore, they finally took out the bricks and pulled his body out, and he was dead. So they considered that to be a less gruesome way than just crucifying him. But still, it's extremely gruesome. That's their only alternative, I guess they had,
Right.
So yeah, so they walled him. So the Mental Monday relation to that is, could you imagine being in a sealed off space for 2 days, knowing that you're just in there until you die? You're not getting any food, water. You have no place to go to the restroom. I'd imagine it's just an empty room, So you're just in there with your own, everything, and you're knowing you have no chance. You're going to die in there, So that mental trauma would definitely be very, very crazy, and the idea of that would definitely be, that's definitely a crazy one. So yeah, Mohammed Mesfoui is my first story for Mental Monday.
Oh, I remember Charlene sent me that not too longer after Friday, so I got it up on my phone. So don't hate me. I got it up right now. And Joe's being the funny guy he is. The dog ate my homework. Prove it. No, don't prove it. I will.
Well, that means the dog ate his computer or his phone because that's where he would have
I
had to
know.
do the
How
phone.
you talking
Yeah.
right now there, Joe? Hmm. Oh, this is 15 scariest mental disorders of all time. And I will go through one of them because everyone should know this, and it kind of plays along with these cards.
Yeah.
All right. This was shared to me by Charlena. She did her homework. She did it early. Last week. This Friday, yes. Alice in Wonderland. See, I can't even talk now. You transfer that over to me.
Oh, don't give me that. Don't give me that.
Alice in Wonderland may be pure fantasy, but one of the Alice's more bizarre experiences shares its characteristics with a scary mental disorder. Gosh dang it. Wow, we can't talk tonight. Sorry, it is Monday.
Oh, don't throw me in there. I made a couple mistakes. I'm going to get it back. Don't worry.
All right, known also as the Todd syndrome, Alice in Wonderland syndrome causes one's surroundings to appear distorted. God damn, I can't really read tonight. I need more alcohol in me. Stat.
Real quick while you're statting. Yes, Charlena, he was in complete darkness outside of if there was any gapping in the bricking off of. But yeah, go ahead, Sue.
Just as Alice grows too tall for the house, those suffering from Alice in Wonderland syndrome. Wow, I'm butchering this up real bad. Will hear sounds either quieter or louder than they actually are. See objects larger or smaller than reality, and even lose sense of accurate velocity or textures. This disorder, which has been described as an LSD trip without the euphoria, even prevents one's own body image. Wow, crazy. Fortunately, Alice in Wonderland syndrome is extremely rare and in most cases affects those in their 20s who have a brain tumor or history of drug use.
Wow.
So that's one of the 15, and I figured that was appropriate because we have the Alice in Wonderland tarot cards. So
very much so.
That's crazy. LSD trip.
Without the euphoria, because like LSD, there's a certain level of like happiness and stuff involved with that. So there's scary parts, but you have that overall sense of like peacefulness and happiness along with it. So even some of the scary parts, you can usually, kind of like wade your way through. But without that part, just some of those things would be terrifyingly scary. And if that was just some kind of disorder your brain went through a lot of times, it's fun every once in a while for certain people, but definitely not something you'd want to have to deal with a lot of, like every day or every week or something like that.
All righty. What else we got? Joe's like, oops. All right.
Well, since it's still Mental Monday and you guys can pop your stuff in at any time, I'm going to talk about something that is often related to mental stuff and something that pops up regularly, and that is different phobias.
We can go back and forth.
Yeah.
Because I'll do this next one because it's kind of cool. Thank you, Charlena. I didn't forget you. You just had to remind me right now. Sorry. That's my Mental Monday. My brain.
So everybody knows that, people fear so many different things, and they often give a name to a lot of the different types of fears out there. So here's a couple of popular phobias that I'll run through and then bounce over to Chris for another story over here. Let's go with this.
Actually, I was going to pop over to the page.
So let's start with some of the most common phobias that are out there. And everybody's going to know this one. It's the title of a movie, probably more than one, but a very popular one, Arachnophobia. And arachnophobia is the fear of spiders. A lot of people have it. My wife is, very much one of those people. If she sees a spider, she gets very, very crazy about it. So I have no problem with spiders for the most part. Obviously, if I see something that's a poisonous or a harmful spider, I'm going to have to get rid of it. But for the most part, I don't try to mess with spiders. I just leave them do their thing. So arachnophobia is easily one of the most common phobias, and it's definitely something that a ton of people have. These are going to mess with me a little bit. Ophidiophobia. Okay, I got it. Yeah, ophidiophobia is the fear of snakes. Again, another very common. It's up there with spiders for sure. A lot of people are afraid of snakes. Snakes are definitely something that get under people's skin. The feel of them, the fear of like the strangulation, the fear of the venom from certain ones. And then one more before I pass it over here to Chris for a story, and then I'll keep this one set to the side so that I can still reference these. And that's acrophobia, which is the fear of heights. Some people, they can't get 10 feet off the ground before they start to get leg shaking and panicking.
I used to when I was younger.
Yeah.
But I kind of face my fears a lot. This goes along the lines of the roller coasters. I'm facing my fears. And I rode a lot of roller coasters. I still feel a fear heights. Don't get me wrong. But I face my fear now. It was hard and wasn't easy time over time just by riding all these roller coasters.
Yeah. And real quick, before you get in your story, just to Charlena's comment, she said, I'm thinking of how the guy died. I'm assuming he hyperventilated, then went into respiratory, then cardiac. That's my guess. That's what I was thinking at first, too, something along that lines, because it's not a long... He died within 2 days, so it wasn't a long enough time to have been dying of, like, dehydration or starvation. I talked to Chris's wife, Jen, who's my mother-in-law, and she's a medical professional, and we were talking about it, and she said he probably died either from suffocation, lack of, good oxygen, especially because he was screaming for a couple of days. So, if he was screaming that much, he was probably, and I definitely agree with the hyperventilating part too, but he was probably also using up a lot of the oxygen in a little limited space. And if that was sealed off properly, he wouldn't have had a lot of clean oxygen coming in. So no. In a small enough space, he could have definitely suffocated himself too. So that was the other theory we were talking about for that story. But I definitely appreciate you popping in. Chris, go ahead, and then we'll get into a couple more of the comments.
Actually, I just thought about this one. The one I shared actually on our Facebook page.
Okay.
Deinstitutionalization and its consequences. This is how they moved thousands of mentally ill people out of hospitals into jails and prisons. And it's like a timeline. It's really short, but it's pretty interesting. At not 1970. Good God, Chris. Drink some more alcohol. Anyway, 1773. The first patient is admitted to the public hospital for persons of insane and disordered minds in Williamsburg, Virginia. In 1841, Boston schoolteacher Dorothea Dix visits the East Cambridge jail, where she first sees the horrible living conditions of mentally ill, believing they could be cured. Dix lobbies lawmakers and courts for better treatment until her death in 1887. Her efforts lead to establishment of 110 psychiatric hospitals by 1880. On assignment, 1887, on assignment, New York World, Nellie Bly feigns lunacy in order to be admitted to the Women's Lunatic Asylum on New York's Blackwell's Island. Her expose, 10 Days in the Madhouse, detailing appalling living conditions at the asylums, leads to a grand jury investigation and needed reforms at the institution. 1907, my home state. Indiana is the first of more than 30 states to enact a compulsory sterilization law. Sterilization law, allowing the state to prevent procreation of confirmed criminals, idiots, imbeciles, and rapists. That's funny how they put that now back then. By 1940, 18,552 mentally ill people are surgically sterilized. 1936, Dr. Walter Freeman and his colleague James Watt performed the first prefrontal lobotomy. By the late 50s, an estimated 50,000 lobotomies are performed in the United States. God, that's crazy.
And if anybody's not familiar with a lobotomy, they find the part in your brain associated with memory and certain behaviors, and they take a large needle, stick it in behind the eye, and go in and find it, and then just give it a little knock.
It was a psychosurgical procedure.
Yep.
Back then. 1938, Italian neurologist Ugo Serlente, hopefully I said that right, introduces electroshock therapy as a treatment for people with schizophrenia and other chronic mental illnesses. 1946, President Harry Truman signs the National Mental Health Act calling for the establishment of National Institute of Mental Health to conduct research in neuropsychiatric problems. Wow, I can't talk. Sorry about this, guys. 1954, marketed as Thorazine by Smith Kline in French. Chlorpromazine is the first antipsychotic drug approved by the Food and Drug Administration. It could become staple in asylums. It's crazy. 1955, the number of mentally ill people in public psychiatric hospital peaks at, good God, 560,000. Jesus. 1962, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, a novel. It was a good movie too. A novel by Ken Kinsey is published. The bestseller is based on his experience working as a nurse's aide in a psychiatric wing of Menlo Park Veterans Hospital, California. And this goes, I mean, it's pretty, you can read the rest of it from there on, but that was kind of a short time. It goes all the way up to 2009.
Okay. That's when I graduated high school. I'm going to answer a couple of comments real quick, just to make sure.
I had to go.
My mom was saying she watched 60 Minutes, and this man and woman were together for 20 plus years, and he ended up stabbing his wife to death. Instead of giving him going to prison, they said he was mentally ill, and he got off. So it's one of those things that he probably went to a mental facility. He probably wasn't mentally ill, so he acted it for a while or was able to show it for a while. Then he reformed and was probably released into the modern world or to the world. No problem. That happens a lot. My mom was also saying that she has a fear of being on fire or drowning, which that's very, very common ones for sure. Joe was giving you shit for being tongue-tied.
Yeah, I know. Sorry. I need more alcohol. I'm gonna drink some more.
Venetius was saying that there's a book called Lobotomy. It's about creativity, called Do It Yourself and Open Your Mind.
So do it yourself lobotomy.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet.
I don't know if I want to try that.
No, I think he's just saying like the idea of like opening your mind, that kind of thing. Yeah,
I know.
So we're always talking about different things, opening your mind. Being open to different concepts, opening your mind in different creative ways. Exercising those muscles, because that's a lot of the mental.
It feels so bad how all these. Maybe most of them had the actual mental issues. The other one just want to throw them away.
Well, and Joe is saying he has a fear of heights, so he has acrophobia. It's like, hey, man, that acrophobia is going to prevent you from getting into certain locations and stuff, Yep. Going into a couple of more phobias here real quick.
Okay.
There's aerophobia, which is the fear of flying, aeroplane,
Now I don't like flying because I did it a lot as a kid, back and forth, because I was a military brat.
Yeah.
So. And when I was in the military, I did a lot of it too, going back and forth.
I flew for the first time a couple years ago when Abby and I went to Florida. That was the very first time I've flown and the only time I've ever flown. So I was very nervous going into it, but I don't really have a problem now,
I know, but sometimes my brain gets interactive and it's like, oh, crap. Especially after 9/11. I'm sorry. After that, it kind of screwed it for me.
Well, and it's
I know it's improved back more.
Well, and that's the fear that they wanted to do, so that's what they accomplished.
Yes, they did.
Cynophobia, which is the fear of dogs, which that's a very common thing. And I mean, in some cases it's understandable because the dog is the relative of the wolf, and there are a lot of dogs that are still very massive in size and can do a lot of damage. Yep. So understanding a fear of dogs is definitely something. I try not to fear any animal, just because it's one of those things that it usually leads to something happening more than anything. But I definitely understand, because I've had interactions with stuff, but I've had more damage done to me by a Chihuahua than any other dog in the entire world.
Those
Because
little
I had
fuckers,
one,
excuse
yeah, I
me.
had one bite me really hard on the ankle, and
Fucking
like
ankle bite. They
yeah.
hurt.
Oh, I have scars from it biting on me on the ankle and everything. And then one of my ex-girlfriend's dogs, it bit me on the hand a bunch of times, and it drew blood, and I had to like get a shot one time to make sure I wasn't going to get like an infection, you know.
Before I met my wife, I was dating someone with a Chihuahua, and that little slept in the bed. I forgot that she was under the covers. I went to stretch, and all of a sudden it's like, it's like, fuck, I'm awake. I'm sorry. Oh my God, sorry. Ooh, those little fuckers. Excuse me.
No, I definitely feel it. One of the other phobias is Astrophobia, and that's the fear of thunder and lightning, which that's very common. Fear of
That's
storms,
very
is,
common.
you know, and a lot of that's probably related to either having an experience with a storm at a very young age, or having some kind of ancestors who are in some kind of great storm that maybe that ancestral DNA was passed down through, you know.
Pass along.
And one last phobia, and then I'll continue on with it a little bit later, is the fear of injections, which is Trypanophobia. So Trypanophobia is the fear of injections, and a lot of people don't like needles and things like that. Yeah. So hey, it's a very common thing.
I have a lot, and
there are heroin addicts who are also people who don't like needles,
but they still do it.
Yeah, it's a thing that happens for sure out there. So those are a couple of more phobias. We'll be talking about some more as we go along here. If anybody wants to talk more about their phobias, you can toss those out. It's Mental Monday. That's why we're talking about all the stuff of the mind, you
know. I'm not afraid of flying. Tracy says I'm afraid of crashing. That's probably it. You got after that. I mean, I didn't mind it because I did it a lot back then. And as soon as that happened, I was like, no, I like drive. If I can drive there, I'm gonna do it. But anyway,
my mom was saying when I was little, I used to jump over a friend's dog, and it bit me in the butt once. I remember that. So I could jump, and it was a small dog, so I would jump over top of it and like jump, and then it bit me in the butt.
All of a sudden, it's like got tired of your shit.
Yep,
got tired of your shit.
It's like jumped up and bit the butt.
Right in the butt cheek.
My mom could probably remember the story too, where I got bit in the ankle. I was chasing my cousin Carter, and Carter's my last name, but it's also the first name of one of my cousins. He's not named Carter. He has a different last name. Don't worry. But I was chasing him around a yard, and the one Chihuahua was apparently very protective of him. So the Chihuahua chased me around, and it bit me like right on the Achilles tendon, and I have a scar on my Achilles tendon from it now. Well, not on the Achilles tendon, but like
close enough.
The skin around it. Yeah.
Oh.
Well, that one from Chasey, yeah.
I have a fear of bugs, so the news on this murder hornet has not been welcome. It's like you have welcome to May. You have passed level 5 of Jumanji. Now here comes the monster. The murder hornets.
My response to the murder hornet is to do what I can to make sure I can help the honeybee population. So what we're going to be doing is actually, and this is a real thing that's coming up this coming week, this week, is we're going to be planting a bunch of flowers around the outside of the house that are all flowers that are good for honeybees, butterflies, certain bird types and everything, to help with that kind of population and everything. And if any of these murder wasps want to come around to my neighborhood, I'll definitely take care of them.
Well, they're still on the West Coast, but we know how fast.
Yeah. We know how fast stuff can move. You know, it takes like it being shipped. You know, like hopping a ride on a truck somewhere.
Who's having murder hornets shipped to the West Coast? I know a lot of Asian cultures come over to the West Coast because they're over that way. They're closer. But come on, how in the shipping crates or whatnot they sneak in there, or ships? Oh my gosh, how does this? Or they just migrate. It's like, oh, we're gonna fly over here. Come on. But I have the fear of bugs story for you. When I was a kid, my mom was dating someone that lived out in the woods, had a nice house. So we make one of those tree inside the tree forts with a bunch of paths and whatnot. It was pretty cool. So I'm running around next to a couple pine trees, and all of a sudden I step on this yellow jacket nest in the ground, and here I'm running up this driveway. Little 13, a swarm of, oh my god, those yellow jackets are nasty little buggers. So yeah, I have a fear of anything like I don't mind too much the bumblebee or the honeybee, but when it comes to wasp and yellow jackets, nah, I'm good.
Oh, okay. We got one thrown out here in the comments section real quick. Phoenicius was saying he had trypophobia, and it's the phobia of holes in irregular patterns. Now that one's interesting. I have a friend who has that, and that one can just be so like certain porous objects and stuff could be like you can't look at it. It's just disgusting to you. You know, your mind, like as soon as you see it, it's just a certain reaction, and then like certain design patterns or certain patterns on like walls or like on like buildings,
just can't stand it.
It just like it triggers something in your mind. Yeah. The that one is also the one I'm thinking of. It also like I don't is that related to the one where like you have a phobia of like pores in the skin? So like people have a phobia of like pores opening up in their skin or some kind of like skin condition where like a bunch of pores open up in their like it's just imagine like a honeycomb in your skin or something like that, you know, where like you just have all these like large pores. Yeah, it would be gross.
Charlene says they decapitate bees. That's extreme. The bee's defense is to vibrate in the hive, creating heat to kill the hornet.
Well, and that's the thing too, is you know, those things I think they're gonna have trouble adapting to certain environments, especially because we're in the Midwest. You know, we're here in Ohio.
Oh yeah, the
winters. So I don't think, and especially because we're still dealing with some very cold days here. You know, yeah. So I don't know how well they'll do over here.
No.
But let them come try to mess with the bees and the stuff I like out here, because I'll be very upset. I'm already dealing with enough wasps and hornets out here.
Yeah, they like to go in between our the shutter blinds.
Yeah.
It's like they find any way or word to form a nest somewhere. It doesn't mean you have to do this. It's like a yearly thing out here because they're always you're not going to kill them all or the nest, but we try to keep it to a minimum as much as we can. We're always spraying something or having those things are nasty buggers. I don't mind. I mean, we had a couple actually. Speaking of bumblebees, we had a couple out there, and I didn't mind them. There's like they were leading us away or leading us away, you know, towards something. You know, it's kind of weird, but it was kind of cool. That's what I heard, tuned into.
Yeah,
out there. It wasn't any animal. It was a nice bumble. And he was,
that bumble that was following us for a while. Yeah,
he was. I mean, that was.
It was the same one too, because we saw it in the same couple of spots.
Could have been one of the spirits leading us out of there. So, hey, your time's up. Come follow me.
Yeah. All right, guys, come on. I'm wrangling you.
Yep. Yeah. Whoever. I shared one of Charlena's things that she sent me. She did her homework. So what about anybody else? I mean, well, the newer one, Vinicius. He's
Vinicius,
new.
Yeah.
He doesn't know about the homework, so.
Well, yeah, that was something we threw out on Friday's episode, just having people bring their own stories. But he has already technically provided.
Yes,
he talked about the trypophobia, you know, which trypophobia is different than trypophobia, which trypophobia is what I was talking about earlier, and it's trypanophobia. I'm sorry, that's the fear of injections and stuff. Yeah. So, did you want to talk more about your timeline, or did you want me to read some more phobias?
You can read more phobias, then I'll go back to Charlena's thing.
So this one's pretty straightforward. Social phobia, which is social anxiety. You know, that's very common trait. Yep. It seems to pop up more and more in younger generations and stuff. Agoraphobia, fear of a situation where escape may be difficult. So, you know, that's definitely one of those, like, if you feel like you can't get out of a place, you know, that's, yeah.
what's a phobia of being buried alive? I remember that one from one of our stories.
Oh yeah, I can't remember that one.
I can't remember that one either.
This one's relative to what might be going on in the world right now, and that's mysophobia, which is the fear of germs. Which germaphobes, they've been doing the masks and the excessive like washing of hands and sanitizer for way before it was like this thing that's going on now.
I mean, yeah. I'll put it to this way, since you mentioned that. I was a mechanic before the injury. So washing my hands on a regular basis was nothing new to me. It was like second nature. Even when I got home, when I'm not mechanicking or working on the car or whatnot, I'm always was washing my hands.
Yeah.
So it was nothing new to me. It just kind of heightened it because God forbid, my skin's going to fall off for so much hand washing right now. But
yeah.
So much lotion's being used as well as soap because my hands get so dry.
I've been trying to keep that lotion on there.
I know. After every wash, I'm like, I got it. I can't stand this. Looking like an old man, wrinkly skin. I am getting there. But
Ashy Chris, But claustrophobia, that's a very common one. Fear of small spaces. So.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of people have that one.
I did mention that when we was out at the Jate Railroad Bridge because I was climbing under something because I don't have claustrophobia because I'll be freaking out about now.
Yeah, there's some of those spots. It's very hard.
Yes, it was.
And the last one I'll read, and then we'll get into some other stuff, is glossophobia, which is fear of public speaking. So people who don't want to do presentations, give any kind of like reports at like meetings and stuff like that. You just want to talk to a group.
I'm getting better at that. For sure, because back
you don't have the phobia of it. You're just you're not well versed in speaking like that, but you don't fear it. Like it doesn't it doesn't make it to where like you're panic attacking, like you're throwing up right before a show. Yeah, exactly.
Oh my gosh. All right. So, anybody got stories of there? Check the chat because I got it.
Yeah, I don't see a new one popped up. Double check my chat here. Yeah. Looks like we're good right now.
We're good right now. Right. Yeah. This is also from Charlene. The next one on the list is alien hand syndrome. Interesting because we talk about aliens. Though it's often been used in terrifying plot twists, alien hand syndrome is hardly limited to the fictional world. Those with this scary but fortunately rare mental disorder experience a complete loss of control of a hand or limb. I'm thinking of a movie, and which one I'm thinking of. That was kind of weird and funny and hilarious, kind of, but creepy. The uncontrollable limb often seems to take on a mind and will of its own. And sufferers have reported their alien limb attempting to choke either themselves or others, ripping clothing or scratching to the point of blood. Alien hand syndrome most often appears in patients with Alzheimer's disease or Creutzfeldt Jakob disease. I think that's how you say it. Sorry. Or as a result of the brain surgery during which the brain's two hemispheres have been separated. Unfortunately, no cure exists for alien hand syndrome, and those affected by it are often left to keep their hands constantly occupied or use their other hand to control the alien hand. Wow. Because my grandma has Alzheimer's, and they said once you did that, it was like you're scratching yourself and whatnot. You can't control it.
Yeah, Alzheimer's is scary.
It is very scary, and that's why I read that part. It's like kind of, I understand that part. But that is kind of another syndrome. And what Idle Hands, or was it called Idle Hands?
Idle Hands. Yeah.
Idle Hands. He was also in the Final Destination movie as well. That one guy.
Yeah.
But that reminded me of that, and I was like, that's to the extreme. I don't think it's going to be that bad, but
yeah,
they just made a movie out of it. All right, what's your mom have to say? I'll let you read your mom.
Oh, she just said she hates small spaces because of her sister used to lock her in the dryer when she was younger. What she would do is literally put not my sister's older sister, But my sister's younger sister, I'm pretty sure she's talking about my Aunt Tula, used to put her in the dryer, or maybe multiple sisters. Might have been a combination of multiple sisters because my mom has more than one sister.
Right.
But put her in the dryer and then like stand in front of it or like press against the front of it so that she couldn't get out.
Oh, come on. Seriously? What the heck kind of game was that? That's not. Oh, come on. I mean, I used to give crap to my brother all the time. Yeah, sure. Go down that pulley system with kite string. Sure, that'll work up in a tree for it. I mean, that's my extreme.
Yeah. Just let them do stupid shit.
Let them learn the first time. Go ahead.
Well, stuff like that's kind of one of those, like, that's the brotherly way, It's just like, all right, I'm going to let you fuck up a little bit. I can, just a fun little story real quick.
Go for it.
I can remember a story of my brother, and me and my dad and my brother were outside, and I was, I think, a sophomore in high school. Yeah, I was a sophomore in high school, and my brother, I think he was in like 8th grade. He set up a 2x4 out of the back of my dad's S10.
Okay.
So like in the gravel, set up a 2x4. It's spring. No snow at the ground. My brother pulls out a snowboard and decides he's going to try to jump from my dad's bed and slide down this 2x4 and then into the gravel. So
didn't work out that way, did it?
Not at all. My dad always had the rule, like, no trips to the hospital. That was always his thing. Like, he's like, you can be dipshits, you guys can fuck around, you can beat each other up, but just no trips to the hospital. I don't want to go to the hospital, And my brother slid down. The board kicked up from the bed, fell off. He fell backwards because the board fell backwards, and the board caught him right in the back of the head. He had to get like 26 stitches in the back of his head. Yeah.
That reminds me of my cousin's story they told me. Because I don't know, those big, how phone books used to be big and stuff. And then.
Well, Tracy's getting out of here. Good night, Tracy.
Good night,
if you're
Tracy.
Still in here. Sorry if we missed it.
They were delivering phone books. Back then the phone books were freaking huge.
Yeah.
Especially in rural areas. It's like, oh, we're going to pick up phone books and deliver them for, that's like a little part-time job. So my 2 cousins were in the back of the pickup truck. Then all of a sudden, one of my cousins decides to push the other cousin out of a literally out of nuts. Like, man, I'm tired of your shit.
Oh, another fun story like that. You're going to spark another one. My mom can confirm this one. We're getting home, I believe, from either eating out or the grocery store. My brother had to be like early elementary school, maybe like 2nd or 3rd grade age. We're pulling into the parking lot of the apartment complex we live in. My brother opens the door of the car and rolls out of the car while it's moving. While we're pulling into a parking spot, my brother opens the door. I'm pretty sure we were pulling into a parking spot. He opens the door of the car and rolls out of the car.
Oh my God, you sparked another story now in my head. When first wife I was married to, we're out shopping. Oh, get in the car. Or I wasn't in the car yet, but all of a sudden she starts the car, backs up onto my foot. It's like, oh, I'm so sorry. Get in the car. Then continues to go, accidentally put it in drive and rolls over my foot again. Thank God it was only one of those back. It was like a 95 Escort station wagon. But come on.
Yeah, that's funny.
Ouch. Not once, but twice. I think she did it up there. She never liked me that much anyway. Sorry, not offense to Southern mother-in-laws, but they didn't like us Northern boys too much, especially being stationed down there.
Well, that's because you're an Indiana boy on an Indian night.
Oh, yeah. Indiana boys on the Indiana night.
That's how it works, when you're doing that kind of stuff, reckless and dangerous.
Charlene, an interesting fact: epilepsy was treated as a demonic possession.
Yeah,
Yes, it was.
very much so.
Very much.
I have
so.
a friend who has epilepsy, and I can understand how some people could perceive it. He's had a couple seizures around me, and the one time we were literally in the middle of a conversation. Now, I want you guys to really like kind of picture this, but just imagine like Chris and I like face to face, middle of a conversation, and all of a sudden his face, like his eyes just like went blank, and his face like kind of twitched to the side a little bit, and he was like his mouth was still trying to say words, like it's like his mind was still trying to continue on the conversation, but something just completely fucking broke for a second. Yeah.
Flip the switch. Bloop.
Yeah, and it was just like, and I knew what to go through with it. You can't freak out with somebody with epilepsy. Sometimes, if they're a violent epileptic, it's a different story. But some people, it's just like, you got to be patient, get them a glass of water. They're going to come back in a second, and then you just got to work them through it. And, they'll start talking to you when you want to, just have that water ready for them and stuff,
Since they're talking about epilepsy, my stepdad's side of the family and my cousins, one of them has seizures. You think they would have thought seizures were demonic possessions?
Oh, for sure, because that's like, involuntary body reactions, possibly like thrashing around on the floor, foaming at the mouth, sometimes vomiting, definitely things that can make somebody think it's demonic.
One of my younger cousins, my youngest right now, is Bob. He has the worst ones, and sometimes he's out for a couple months because he's not allowed to drive or anything. And he has those grandma seizures. And they're always taking him to the hospital to find better treatment for him.
Yeah.
Right now, he's still doing good, but he was an avid football fan like me, so I wish the guy, me and him talk a lot of football back in the day, and we shared actually a Notre Dame game together. That was beautiful. But anyway.
No, my buddy, he has a device in his chest that once it senses the potential of a seizure coming on, it sends a shock to his heart.
Does it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I don't know if he's gotten that far yet, but he does take a lot of different drugs.
Yeah, my buddy has a device, and it's kind of crazy because it's insane how advanced we are with technology. My buddy has this device in his chest, and the battery is actually magnetically used. So he can change the battery, and it magnets to the object, and that's how the battery transfers and everything. So it's kind of amazing how some of this stuff works.
It's fortunate my cousin has dogs, and they sense that, and they let other people in the house.
Yeah, and that's a good thing.
And that's a good thing to have. So.
Yep.
And I think he has one of those buttons too, like you see in the commercials.
Well, and speaking of dogs who are taught certain things, just a little PSA, little public service announcement. If a trained dog, if you see a dog in a vest or some kind of like harness, obviously showing it's a trained dog, ever comes up to you, don't try to like pet it or anything like that. Follow it, because if they're coming up to another person, they're trying to find somebody to take back to their owner who is probably like hurt, maybe on the ground, or maybe having like a seizure, or if they're blind, lost somewhere. That dog is trying to get you to help. So like follow the dog,
It's funny that you mentioned that, because not funny, but I was watching a movie called Hours with Paul Walker, where he's staying during the Katrina hurricane, and he has to stay with the daughter on a ventilator, and he still has to but anyway, a dog shows up, and it was one of those kind of dogs. Then all of a sudden, towards the end of the movie, the dog came back with some help to evacuate him and the baby.
Yeah.
But it was a very sad, but it's one of those, what would a father do in a situation like that? And he did it.
Yeah.
To keep it, because there was it's a good movie, actually. It's called Hours. It was a very good movie. So if you guys want to watch that, go ahead. I recommend that movie.
Yeah. Very
touching and very, very good movie that he did. I think is not one of his second to last movies he did before he passed away, but it was he was a very well-versed actor.
And John Cassidy, thanks for popping in.
Hey, John.
And my mom said that is a great movie. She really she likes that movie as well.
I just saw it on it was on YouTube free.
Venetius, and I hope I'm saying that right, by the way. If you go by something else too, you can let me know. But I think I'm saying the name right. I'm glad you enjoy the conversation so far. This is the kind of conversations we have. Some nights we kind of theme it out a little bit just to have something to talk about and something you guys know we're talking about. But we talk about everything. We talk about haunted related material. We talk about UFOs and aliens. We talk about cryptozoology. We cover a wide variety, and we're never ever opposed to any kind of conversation.
Oh no!
Outside of most political stuff, we don't want to talk politics.
Nah, we don't go there. Sorry, guys. We won't get into that. That causes a lot of fights.
Do you want to read another one from the one you got from Charlena?
Charlena?
Yeah.
Yes. Next one.
Go ahead and do that real quick. I'll be right back.
See if you can say that word before you.
Oh, yeah.
Or maybe I should choose another one.
No, go back up to it. I got...
Yeah. Amphotemnophilia.
Apotemnophilia. Apotemnophilia. Yeah.
For now, during the run read, I'm going to call it a boat.
Apotemnophilia.
Apotemnophilia. All right.
Apotemnophilia. Yeah. So,
Apotemnophilia.
So they like apotemnophilia.
Sounds like something out of Egypt.
Think like necrophilia. So think of the nophilia.
Okay.
And then apotem. So apotem. Yeah. Apotemnophilia.
Known as body integrity disorder and amputee identity disorder. See, I can't even say it now. I know.
Yeah, apotemnophilia. Apotemnophilia.
Is a neurological disorder characterized by overwhelmed desire to amputate or damage healthy parts of the body. Though not known as much is known about this strangely terrifying disorder, it is believed to be associated with damage to the right partial lobe of the brain. Because the vast majority of surgeons will not amputate healthy limbs upon request. Some sufferers of that philia, I can't say it, I'm sorry, I don't know why. I try, feel forced to amputate on their own. A dangerous scenario. Of those who have had a limb removed by a doctor, most are reported happy with their decision even after the fact. Wow. So if it's healthy and people still want it removed, that is crazy. It's very rare though, but it's got to be something in their brain. Oh my gosh. Woo. That is. Oh, I can't. Oh, here we go. Since we're speaking of Wendigos, I will read this one too. Cotard Delusion. There is a healthy interest in The Walking Dead and other elements of the current zombie trend. And there's the Cotard Delusion. The scary mental disorder causes sufferers to believe that they are walking dead, literally, or a ghost, and that their body is decaying or they've lost all blood and internal organs. The feeling of having a rotting body is usually part of the delusion, and it shouldn't come as a surprise that the many sufferers of Cotard Delusion experience severe depression. In some cases, delusion causes sufferers to starve themselves to death. This terrifying disorder was first described in 1880 by neurologist Jules Cotard, though fortunately Cotard's delusion has proven extremely rare. The most well-known cause of Cotard delusion actually occurred in Haiti, where a man was absurdly convinced that he had died of AIDS and was in hell. That's what the... I thought that was kind of fitting of the night because we were talking about Wendigos earlier.
Yeah.
The Cotard Delusion. And thinking they're walking their bodies or they're the Walking Dead and or ghosts and they bodies.
Well, yeah, with the Wendigo syndrome,
that could be
related
like
cannibalism and stuff like that. Yeah.
That's crazy. Oh my gosh. I know I've been missing because I was reading. But go ahead and see if we got. Just call him Vin. Colin Vin, yeah. Colin Vin. I wonder if the limb is painful and that's why. Or they think it's painful. I mean, there's something up here.
Well, I don't want to call him anything he doesn't want to be called, you know?
I couldn't imagine having to have one of my limbs removed unless it really was necessary. Then that's a different case. But if it's healthy, why would you want it removed? I mean, sometimes we talk about getting that bionic hand in here so I can have full function, but I mean, it's still there. It's
Well,
not
like you have
100%
like
healthy.
you can work all the fingers and everything, you
Still
know.
point.
Yeah, like you have.
I mean, I told you I was trying to swat that wasp away from my car, and I kind of hurt myself because I couldn't.
Yeah,
I couldn't do the full motion like this.
but in comparison to like, you know, the people who take that step, it's usually something because like they can't even grab like a can of soda or something, you know, like. I mean, we're gonna get you some there someday. Don't worry. I'm gonna have this dude with an arm that's gonna have like settings and stuff, and it's gonna have like all kinds of fanciness.
Just have like the Iron
No, it's
Man.
gonna be amazing.
I'm gonna record just for my hand. Although that look kind of weird. So like, hey, speak into my hand.
Well, the thing is, like, is if you had the robotic wrist, you could change it any angle you wanted to, and you could get the stabilizers and stuff. So like, you'd have the perfect balance and everything. Oh, it'd be amazing.
Accidentally looked down. What are we looking at the ground for? Sorry, guys. I'm not raising my hand for a question or answer. Oh wow. Lived in Haiti, and I would think it was hell too. I mean, this has been a good night so far, guys.
Yeah, if I lived in it, yeah. Well, and Haiti's been one of those places that's been struck by a lot of devastation. And unfortunately, the American relief has usually been things just take advantage of the area. So there's a lot of problems with the way that relief goes, you know?
Yeah.
Louisiana and New Orleans and places like that, you know, like that. They'll tell you some stories about that kind of stuff.
Right.
About how relief goes.
Exactly.
But no, we hope you guys tune in tomorrow. Like we said, we're gonna try to pop a little bit of a live stream up once we find a roundabout location. We'll at least have some kind of conversation with you guys for a little bit while we're out there on location tomorrow. But if you want to hear it for the earlier part of the show, Chris and I, we checked out a potential area for a Native American burial mound yesterday.
Very hidden.
We hit a spot we thought was around the vicinity, but we don't feel like we really landed on the spot we wanted to yet.
No, but it seemed kind of
it was still substantial.
Substantial enough to it could have been because there's of what I've been like watching and whatnot. The Native Americans did not just make one; they made several.
Yeah, and I think we're looking, like I said, for like a head mound or maybe like an elder mound. You know,
I mean, you look how on.
We're not digging them up, by the way. We're just trying to observe the area.
No. I am not about all.
Before we talk about anything, we'll
especially
get that out there.
Creepy memorial in that tree. I'm all good. That's kind of a warning sign not to touch something. And I did actually ask permission to. A stone was on the ground and I grabbed it, and I have it part of my bag now, which is upstairs. I can't show it to you right now.
Yeah, it's not down here with us now.
It's not down with us, but I grabbed it and we cleansed it and whatnot. And it kind of is convenient. It's like a nice, perfectly little round stone.
Yeah, this guy's been doing a lot of cleansing, man. I got this mortar and pestle set.
It was about,
and I've been doing a lot of cleansing with this.
It's about the shape of this stone.
Not cleansing with the set, but we've been putting the cleanses in there.
But when I put it's funny and not funny. We always say it's funny, but we realized when I was grabbing it, it had like a thumb hold. Had a little indent in the stone, like I was meant to pick up that stone from that certain area.
Yeah,
it wasn't down on the creek; it was up on that top of the hill.
Yeah,
or mound. Maybe it's a mound, we don't know, because that one
we're trying to figure it out.
Oh my gosh, it's driving us nuts sometimes. Because I know Charlene had talked a little bit with. I saw a post from Tony Bird. That's where we got some of the information from. the Z maps, and that he's actually seen some of the artifacts probably at a museum, or actually was able to touch them. I don't know what he's dealing with or how he does that stuff.
Yeah.
But he's been great trying to locate this. And I even asked him last night. So that's the only known map of that. So it could be lost in time, like way lost in time, because we were searching in the Hopewell Indians and Adena Indians. That goes all the way back from a little bit after Christ, but first AD on up. It could be that old.
Yeah. Well, and we're trying to find the Ohio, the Lake Erie, the Great Lake areas. They have a lot of Native Americans, legends stuff, because it was a great area for them to be with all the fishing and the transportation and trade potentials and stuff. So we're just trying to figure out something in our local area, and we're going to be as respectful as possible, and we're always that way.
Yep.
But trying to find this location is really important to us right now.
I mean, they used right now the Cuyahoga Valley National Park. It used to be the towpath trail that used to be the Erie Canal, and you got the Cuyahoga River, which also means the Crooked River. And also the other trail was the old carriage trail. They used to go back and forth to another town, the Sagamore Hills.
Sagamore Hills, yeah.
They used to run into a road up there, but they used that as a carriage path back in the day. And they turned it into a trail. Speaking
on the Crooked River, let's talk about the serpentine, thing in the river, the serpent.
Right there before that.
Right by the area of the burial mound. And then as we were finishing up the live stream yesterday,
I saw a snake.
A snake slithered across the path. So I think we're on the right track. I think we just have to point ourselves in a different direction.
It was kind of a sign.
Oh, Tanya's here. What's up, Tanya?
Hey, there's Tanya. You do your homework, Tanya? Do you got something for us tonight?
Real quick, Charlena's got something to read. That she said as a kid, she always thought a mountain, drive by in North Carolina looked like a pyramid. It's funny what you think as a kid, and that's true. That is very true. And when I was a kid, every stone-faced wall was once a great structure or something like that. Every cave once was a place where some warriors took camp. Everything had some kind of possibility, and I still, even as an adult, look at some of those places like that.
Ledges has that cave.
Yeah.
Now they use it as drug use and whatnot. But anyway,
gotta get your drug use in. Woo!
There was the other ledges too that had possible caves and whatnot in the area. They had the stone steps built in by somebody. But
yeah,
there's a bunch of ledges around that are pretty interesting, actually, and could have also been used by the Native Americans.
Joe's dog ate his homework, and apparently Tanya's cat ate hers. You guys with your animals, you got to get those guys in check.
Lord. Have you been collaborating with Joe?
Rick, what's up, man? How are you doing?
Hey, Rick. How you doing tonight, sir?
And for everybody checking in, we're talking Mental Monday. You can check the first hour of the show. We've had some fun stories already, and we've talked a lot of stuff.
Us butcher some words.
While I'm here, I'm going to go ahead and pop up some phobias, some more phobias. We've been talking about those. Yeah. We've been talking about different phobias and stuff.
They turn up the heat up there?
I don't know.
It's kind of warm down here now. They probably did. Probably did turn on that thermometer. Trying to save me some money. It might be this little sun I got in my ears too yesterday.
Yeah, you definitely we got some sun for sure.
Some sun. Yeah, well, we already caught Joe in the act yesterday, but continue.
Yeah. All right. So, achieve-me-phobia is the fear of success. So, it's just the fear of actually accomplishing your goals and being successful in life and everything. And there's some people who believe that if they get successful, that it's only going to lead to much more
problems.
Yeah.
So they might do more different bad things. Gotcha.
Agoraphobia is the fear of pain. So it's the fear of having pain of any sorts inflicted upon you. So like even stubbing your toe, can be much more of a bigger deal for somebody like that.
More dramatic.
Yeah. Alien. Oh.
Go ahead. I'm not telling you.
Aerophobia is the fear of cats.
Well, not for Tanya, because the cat ate her homework.
Electrophobia is the fear of chickens.
So you don't eat chicken? KFC?
Androphobia. Yeah, so androphobia is the fear of men.
Oh, good Lord. Oh, I'm going to keep it. Why does my phone keep doing that? I'm losing it. My phone's being weird. Go ahead.
Aphantasmophobia is the fear of intimacy. So that's aphantasmophobia. Apophobia is the fear of bees. Aquaphobia is the fear of water. And yeah, that's some of the big ones in the A range. So
I have to reset my phone. It's acting. It keeps kicking me out. Let's see if anyone's got up on the chat. No, it kept kicking me out of the screen. It's like weird. Reset.
So yeah, those are some of the ones. What movie you're watching, Rick? And Joe, we definitely only pull out the wet noodle when we need to, Oh, there are literally thousands of phobias, if not tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands. I mean, it might even be in the millions, People are afraid of so many different things.
You can throw up another meme for the Tiger King if you want to.
Oh, man, Tiger King. By the way, Tiger King has some shows that are going to be coming out. And guess what? What? Nicolas Cage is going to be playing Joe Exotic in one of the series coming out about the Tiger King. Yeah, that's right. Nick Cage, Joe Exotic.
Good Lord Almighty.
I wish I had some fireworks right now. I'd fire them off in this basement right now.
Finger guns. Oh my gosh.
All right, so Venetia said about trypophobia. He had a crisis of anxiety and itchy after seeing any pattern or skin or holes like a lotus seed heads. So he started to see a lot of pictures on the internet, and then the symptoms started to get better. So I guess that's exposure therapy, is that he started to see a bunch of stuff, and then it kind of healed some of his issues.
Oh, okay.
Wow, that's amazing, dude. Thank you for sharing your stories.
Right.
We always appreciate that.
Especially from different countries. We love different things.
Everywhere, no matter where it's from. Any story from any place is amazing.
My phone needs a reset. I hope they're watching with me, but anyway, I'm trying to get to the story. Another thing from Charlene. Well, my phone's acting all fun and goofy and weird on me, of course. There we go. All right, let's get somewhere I can butcher some words. How about that, guys?
Yeah, butchering words.
Fear of butchering words. Which one's that? Make one up.
Well, that'd probably be the one for speaking in public or public speaking.
Oh, yeah. I was trying to.
Because you wouldn't fear butchering words unless you had an audience, probably.
This is so. God, I can't even talk to fascist. We'll go factitious disorder. There we go. I'm trying to think something I won't butcher too much, just because my brain doesn't want to work tonight. I don't know. I might have been in the sun yesterday because us gingers, frying. Nah.
We were hiking for a while, so no big deal.
Most people cringe at the first sniffle, indicating a potential cold or illness, but those not those with factitious disorder. This scary mental disorder is characterized by obsession with being sick. In fact, most people with factitious disorder intentionally make themselves ill in order to receive treatment. This makes it different than
Hypochondria.
hypochondria. Thank you, sir. Sometimes sufferers will simply pretend to be ill, a ruse which includes elaborate stories, long lists of symptoms, jumping from hospital to hospital, such as a session with sickness often stems from past God, I can't. Trauma. Excuse me.
Trauma.
Or serious illness. It affects less than 0.5% of the general population. While there is no cure, it is often able to be limited via psychotherapy. That's interesting because we talk about illness and during what's going on. You think those people are doing the same thing with this? Oh, I got every time.
Yeah.
I want to go.
Sure.
Go to hospital.
I would hate to be a hypochondriac right now for sure. And to what Rick said, he said, did you guys enjoy Paranormal Day yesterday? Yeah, we were out at a potential burial mound area.
Potential burial mound.
Exactly, and we're gonna go back out tomorrow. But also, we enjoy Paranormal Day every day. Like every day is a Paranormal Day for us, you know. So it's kind of our life.
It is kind of our life.
We have other parts of our life, but we're always thinking about paranormal stuff.
I know, even when I go on the explorers by myself, because I always feel a certain energy, or depending, like I told you yesterday, like around that, it was nothing negative. It's all calm and peaceful energy.
Yeah.
Nothing that would actually harm us where we need to get out of there. But that Bumble let us out of there, and there was that weird noise, and you saw something weird, so I guess it was about that time to go.
Yeah. And, Venetius was saying that I have a fear of serpents. There's one in the background, but that's cool. And, I mean, hey, the Don't Tread on Me flag is always rocking
It's
back
very
there.
popular U.S. flag back in the day, history. U.S. Very historical flag back in the U.S. history, pretty much.
And, anybody who didn't see, you can always check out our video from yesterday. We talked a little bit about some of that stuff.
Yeah, Tanya
Chris was posting some of his pictures and stuff.
Tanya was making a Blair Witch reference yesterday.
Yeah.
With that burial tree mound.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. It definitely has some vibes.
The other guy didn't understand. I was like, I know what she's talking about. She's talking about Blair Witch.
Yeah.
That triangle. I didn't veer into there closely. I just took it from a distance because I didn't want to disturb it or whatnot. I don't need any of that bad juju.
The fear of serpents, that's one of those ones that I had it as a kid, so I ended up just diving headfirst into it, and I started interacting with like gardener snakes and like the field and stuff. And then when I was in like fourth or fifth grade, I asked my mom if I could get a snake. And so I got a cordon snake, and I had that snake up until, I think that snake lasted until so I got it in probably the late 90s, early 2000s, and I had it up until 2014, 2015. So it was a good companion for sure.
Mine's a different twist.
Snakes can be awesome if you let them be. I had a California king snake also too when I was, I think I was in like 7th or 8th grade, and it was like a 6-foot snake.
I'm full on Indiana Jones. If anybody hasn't seen those movies, I'm sorry, but you know what I'm talking about. Because I had a lot of things as a kid. One was in Maryland, the earliest I remember. And all of a sudden, my mom yells at us from the yard, "Get in the house now." This, I guess it was in danger at the time, the biggest black snake you ever seen crawling through our yard. Just passing through.
Ooh.
I was like, no. Then, I guess, same Maryland, my biological father, there's this reason why, but we won't get into that, had rented a plot of farm land. And in between there was trees, like there's a gully and there's just trees. I don't know, me and my brother stepped in, but it was not nice and almost bit us.
Oof.
So
there's a couple of snakes in Ohio we have to worry about. In Indiana, when you lived when you're younger, you got to worry about some of the places out there.
yeah, and the only other one we're kids in Pennsylvania, a little older, like 12, 13, playing in a creek because us boys, we got to get down and dirty looking for salamanders and whatnot. Then all of a sudden, this water moccasin floats on by. It's like, we're out. Ooh, we're out. So I mean, I've gotten used to snakes from a distance. Like that one didn't bother me yesterday. We saw that one, me and the girl saw one in that tree. It was the gray one that was non-poisonous, though. We just let it be sitting in the tree right there because the same path we walked up there by the Brandywine Falls, that path. Yeah. It was in that broken down tree, just like chilling there. We just left them alone. Then we saw like a little gardener snake one time. We was walking over there, the Ledges Trail. He just going on by, minding his business. So I've gotten used to them. As long as we don't harm them, they don't touch me. But all right. There's the snake stories.
Well, Tanya has a snake story. And she said, I used to have a classroom next to a science room. The teacher had a boa named Sally. Well, she got out and they found her in the closet. And she was, like a huge snake, So
yeah, those guys are huge.
My corn snake got out once, and we had some people sleeping in the living room at the time. They were just like staying over for the night. It was like a weekend. And it got out because I didn't get its water refilled. I was young, I was a kid. I didn't refill its water, so it was like very, very thirsty. So it popped the top off the cage, climbed into the kitchen, and we found it wrapped around the sink. The moisture, the plumbing underneath the sink because the moisture
came down. Yep, it was thirsty, man. Your snake says, "Yo, man, come on! You forgot to popped his top." It's like, I'm gonna get my own water. Damn it.
Well, yeah, dude. Phoenicius, man, like a snake with two heads is always scary. I mean, and they've actually like been born in nature like that here every once in a while. That's some scary shit. Yeah.
I've heard one too many hisses in my life. I'm good. I mean, even Jeremy had a snake, but it didn't feed it, and it kind of died. But
you gotta feed him. Yeah, that's like the biggest part.
Him, yeah, and I had that snake for a while, and it's like, oh, you want to touch it? No, that's when I first met my wife. She had the cage down in the basement room across the way. So you want to? No, I'm good. As long as they didn't get out, I'm good. You want to feed it? No, I'm good. I want that thing popping up.
Now we just have the red-eared slider in the house, I got my turtle upstairs.
Yep, we just got the turtle. I don't mind turtles, as long as they're not snapping.
Yeah, Kermera's pretty chill. She just chills out,
She just chills. She gets overexcited if you gotta feed her some more.
Oh, she goes crazy when I'm about to feed her, yeah.
She's about that cage. Boonk, boonk. So, yo, Dad, feed me.
She will. She'll just like straight up just ram the side of the glass.
Think sometimes you go,
I'm about to feed you right now. The times, And she does. She knows the times where she gets fed, and it's like, come on, just chill.
She gets impatient. She wants food now.
Yeah, I've been to the Ripley's down in Florida, and I think they had one of the two-headed snakes. One of the best things I saw down there was they had the mummified cat, and I thought that was amazing. That somebody would like, all right, well, I'm gonna mummify myself, and then, all right, make sure I want my cat too.
Yeah, cat next to me, because the Egyptians really worship their kitties.
Well, and it goes back so far, love for cats.
Yes, it does.
I love my dog Alice, my boxer Alice, and she doesn't live in the house with us, but she lives off with somebody else right now. But one of my best companions was Batman, and he was my black cat, and he was such a good companion, and really like not typical to your normal cat,
No.
Had more dog qualities than cat qualities.
That's for sure.
It was really weird.
Yeah, speaking of cats, my mom lost one of her companions today too. But guess how long she lived though? 20 years.
That's a long time.
That's a long time for a cat.
Batman was very young.
I was like, now I'm 45. That was like 25 back. I can't. So most cats maybe what 10, 15 at most, depending on the environment.
Yeah,
and how well you-
the average cat is like mid-teens, I think.
Yeah,
or
mid-teens.
early to mid-teens.
But 20s is like,
yeah, 20s is always amazing.
it is amazing. It lived a good life. She was getting old.
One of my mentor figures, he had a cat that was 19 when it died, you know, and I was there when it died, and I had to bury it and everything. And that was always
lived
sad.
a good long life. That's
very, very much so. Yeah.
I mean, they can't live forever, unfortunately, or something happens to shorten their lives, which is very sad for most. Like Batman. Batman was a very good cat, man.
Yeah,
He was an awesome cat.
I love that little dude.
That little dude was amazing.
I say little dude, and he was like a very long, stretchy dude.
He was a very long, stretchy dude. Gotten some, especially in Valley City, that crawl space in that basement. Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
where is he? Up there.
We looked for him for so long, dude.
Because was it him and Marzi or he just didn't like the area?
He didn't like Marzi, yeah, and so he hid up in the rafters,
way up there.
Yeah,
and he was bigger than Marzi.
Oh, he could have fucked her. He did fuck up a little bit.
He did fuck her up later on when he got used to
Marzi's gone too now, right?
Yeah, Marzi's gone new. I don't want to talk about that, but anyway.
Yeah,
because of that environment, but I don't want to talk about that. Because Marzi was one of those cats that was always when I first started dating Jen, and Marzi was always Marzi didn't come into Lakewood. That's right. When it was someone else's cat, that cat would always come to our bedroom, lay at the end of the bed.
And she always had poop in her butt.
She always had poop in her butt. And then one time she was being those kind of cat, and she brought a dead mouse to her, but in the room. It's like, look what I caught for you guys.
I got a prize.
Defending the home. She was like,
I got a prize for you guys. Don't worry.
And after that, she really didn't chase mice. It's like that was the only time she really brought a mice into the room. Oh yeah, now we're talking about kitties.
Oh, Rick's been to the one in Branson, Missouri. Yeah, I went to the one in I think it's like St. Lauderdale, Florida.
Yeah, down right down there.
Yeah, something down. I was on vacation. I was going to a bunch of different spots, you know. Me and my wife had a bunch of fun in there. I have some amazing pictures in there from us having a good time. It was actually before my daughter was even born.
Yes, it was. You went down there before your daughter was born.
Yep. My wife was pregnant with our daughter when we went down there.
That was Ashley, and they're up here now, aren't they?
Yeah. Our friends we visited down there actually live up here in Ohio with us now.
I know, and they moved in at a kind of a bad time.
A weird time to move, yeah.
And all this virus, but they're doing good. They both got jobs. They're still and raising their son, so it's good. Once we get out of this,
and Ashley's popped into the show a couple times.
Yeah, she has. She said hi.
And Tanya was talking about how like cats are always different. You know, they don't ever seem to have the same personality. They all have their own soul.
I mean, I talked about my story with Fleabag. We called him. That cat would only. I've just walked out in front of the trailer park all the way to back. That cat followed me all the way back.
Yeah.
And all responded to me. So I always had a sensory with cats. Cats really, me. I guess they could read your aura or energy or something like that. It's like, oh, this is a good dude. We'll go to him.
No, that's exactly how it goes, and it's just cats can really do the same for people as they do to them. It's like as long as you provide. By the way, I've had that happen once or twice on mine, so I think it's just something with Facebook.
I think it's on the Facebook.
Yeah, because I had to do it to me just where it kicked me out of the stream. Yeah.
Yeah, it's acting weird on their phones.
Hopefully everything's good on the stream, though.
Hopefully everybody's still good to stream. We're just sorry if we can't get to all the questions because our phones keep kicking us in and out for some reason.
Tanya was asking, what mental greatness she missed. I was talking about a man who was in Morocco, and he was a serial killer, and in lieu of crucifixion, they chose to wall him, And what they did is they put him in a small cell and then completely sealed off the entrance with bricks. And he screamed for 2 days, and then they didn't hear screaming anymore, so they finally took the wall down, and he was dead. So it's believed that he either died from suffocation, or maybe some kind of like heart stress or something like that, or maybe something like some kind of like psychological thing.
Drove him to
a lot of different opinions on that one, but that was one of the things we talked about. We've been talking about some phobias. Chris has been talking about some stories of like, mental health and how it's been talked about over the years and how it's been treated over the years.
Yeah, I've been treated over the years. And that's
definitely check out that earlier stuff though. I know you're always interested in what we're talking about. So there's some really, really good stuff at the beginning of the show.
I mean, and anybody's seen that picture of that burial mound memorial that we found. If you guys, I know Tanya was talking about it, and so was Charlene a little bit. We were asking us about, did we actually, I mean, it drawed us a certain area. We're not for sure yet.
Yeah, we want to go back out tomorrow to try to confirm, Yeah. And that's what we're doing. We felt a lot of energy, but we didn't feel like we exactly, planted our flag on the moon. We really hit the spot we wanted to. Yeah.
It was just that one thing, that thing in the tree that was really out of not normal what you would see in a forest.
Yeah, for sure.
No.
Do you have more on that one you had pulled up?
Oh, well, Tanya has something.
Oh, yeah.
You go ahead and read it.
Okay. Okay, so she's saying that's like the guy who was a prisoner of war who played golf games in his head to survive. And she said she always liked that story, So
if you got that mental toughness, yeah. I mean, if they take that away too, I wouldn't.
No, I got you. I got what you were saying, Tanya.
POW. Yeah, we know what you meant. I thought the tree looked neat. It was neat.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have found that out if I didn't go back down that hill.
Well, and I mean,
when we met back up,
that area was amazing
because it was off to this side.
So, okay, talk about like the moss coverage and the path that went through that hill real quick, okay? Because the hill you chose was very significant. That's why I didn't go as far out. I cut back to the area you were at, and it's funny because like you and I were yelling to each other.
We heard each other.
Yeah. So go and talk about that hill and the gravel path. Because I just had a bunch of mud on my side.
You had a bunch of mud on my side, because we were at the bottom of what we call Little Ravine, where the creeks were running through, and there was a bunch of water. It was like they all interconnect with each other. These couple different creeks. Then I was on the left side. He was on the right, and it's like, I mean, that could have been. We said, oh, this could feel like this area. Then we was like, why don't we split up? And because this one side to the left of me was calling to me for some reason. And he went to the right and I went to the left. It was a more solid path going up this hill. I mean, I'm sure some of you seen the pictures. I don't know if I post them on actually my Facebook and the paranormal Facebook on here on the BAPS page as well. And I also shared a little video I did up there. I was a little out of breath. And exactly, it was kind of steep, but actually it was more solid, and the rocks went all the way. It was all the way up. Like there was like steps at one time. What could have been some kind of steps, because there was stone all the way up. Then it kind of flattened out. Then there were steps, little bit a path going up again, then flatten out. And I look around and it was like there was moss and stone. Then on three sides on the bottom was flat surfaces actually. Then on the very top, when you were finally up there, I walked out a little bit and it was all flat.
Because I had to come down through, and then we met in the ravine, and we were talking a little bit down there, and then I followed you up that path.
It was, and you saw it was all stone going up. No,
Yeah.
not squishy mud like you were having problems on the other side.
Yeah, I slid a lot on that other side.
And you know, it was like all solid rocks. Then there was then you got a little flat part right here, then a little bit up, then a total flat part, and there wasn't a lot of big trees up when I was walking around up there.
Yeah.
A couple, like on the edges, but it was completely flat. I mean, by you going the other side, it was all squishy and problematic, and like a mudslide every time you step. You had to adjust your step. Going up and down this one, it was all solid, and it's been raining off and on for days.
Yep.
And it was pretty.
And we waited for it to be dry a little bit. You know?
A little bit. That was going to be too much of a problem. But you had more problems than I did on the others.
I did, yeah.
And this seems, and when we were over on the creek side, I kept looking on the other side, and it didn't look like no path up that way.
Yeah.
Then this one all of a sudden has like a actual path. It could have been the Native American hunting path, or it could have been steps up to this mound where they put all these, buried them inside these holes and little, crevices and whatnot. Because I've been watching a lot how they do it. They would have built it up, then they would have worked themselves back up like this.
Yeah.
So it seems like possibly at one time could have been some kind of steps going up, and he used the stones from the creeks and whatnot going up, because there was a lot of
stones. They can make some sense for sure. Yeah.
And they could have, not necessarily say this is it, but it just seemed kind of odd from the rest of what you experienced. Then we was looking on the other side, is like, it's not as obvious. Then you saw the three kind of sides at the flat, it was kind of plateaued, then it went off.
Yeah.
Not just like it was one steep. It was like, like kind of like
there were levels to it.
There were levels to it.
Oh, hey, Linda, by the way.
It's pretty odd. Maybe they dug into those sides as well to build up. There's all different kinds in Ohio, all different kind of formations and whatnot. Some of them were ceremonial, some were actual burial. I think the one popular one is the Serpent Mounds.
Yeah, that's Serpent Mounds. That's Southern Ohio, yeah.
Yeah, that's Southern Ohio. There were more ceremonial, because they didn't find any bodies in those. Or it could have been leading the loved ones to the north, because it was always a thing. They said they might telling the spirits to go north.
Yeah,
like a direction for them.
Oh, for sure. And it's something that's been tossed up the myth, but there's also reports that some of the mounds that have been dug up in Ohio were giants mounds.
Oh yeah,
people who were reported to be on the short side at 6'5" to 7 feet, and on the tall side at like 8 to 9 feet tall.
And so sad some of these, because they wanted a housing development, not preserve so many mounds. But the archaeological people were actually, with this one story, were allowed to go in there, and they said, "Oh, you have 7 days." It took them 4 months to get all these artifacts, and they found so many artifacts in these one mounds that they had to fortunately excavate before they were ruined to get them out. And so it's pretty sad. It's like, oh, we want houses. Screw your burial mounds. I don't want to be that house that's built right close. Nope, not me.
Well, and to where Rick was saying real quick, he said, if you ever get a chance to go to Missouri State Penitentiary in Jefferson City, Missouri, or the Lemp Mansion in St. Louis, Missouri. So definitely places we've got to check out if we ever get out to the Missouri area. So
yes,
we definitely, I'm going to screenshot that real quick so we can check that out if we ever do get out that way.
Yeah, Charlene was right. There was hardly no wildlife in the area when we were. There was, now that we think about it, remember that eagle that came screeching by and then gone?
Yeah.
The hawk? Just something
Yeah, it was a large hawk
It was
or falcon. Is it a hawk or falcon?
Hawk
Yeah.
or falcon. It frightened the dude, and he's like gone.
Yep.
Had nothing. He screamed really loud too. Like, and they usually don't do that if they're going for food or prey. But he was that.
He wasn't dropping in on anything. No, he was just flying through.
He was flying through. He wasn't dropping.
It was a warning to something.
So yeah, Charlene, we talked about. I mean, maybe earlier there was animals around, but during that time there was hardly, except for birds, maybe.
Yeah,
and
some birds,
bumbles,
some bumblers. Yeah,
and that actually led us out of there and followed us. Same bumbler.
But you never know what you're gonna get. You know, there's all kinds of stuff out there, and you know, nature's scary enough, but we're looking for something paranormal. You know,
I mean, the highest on, because I did a EMF scan, the highest it got in certain areas was like 1, then it went back down to 0. So it's definitely something was following us around.
Oh, I definitely believe so.
I mean, it wasn't staying in one area, and water is a good energy source along with all the stone.
And water holds memory too.
Yeah, water holds memory, and you see that unusual one black rounded off big stone that you pointed out during the live
completely smooth. Yeah,
completely smooth. And I didn't see any other really black predominant rocks like that.
And it was actually like pretty easy to pick up too.
It was,
you know,
yeah, it was like right there.
It's been washed around for a while, I bet.
Oh yeah, and that's not one easy rock to really wash around.
Tanya's talking about thunderbirds. Thunderbirds are birds that are said to be larger than, you know, like your average bird. So said to have wingspans starting at like 15 to like maybe 20 feet, like prehistoric level wingspans on birds. And they've been reported throughout the Midwest, throughout like, you know, like the Dakotas, California, like all kinds of areas, you know.
Couldn't that be mistaken for the Mothman back then too?
Well, the Mothman could be mistaken for something like that too.
That's why I was.
But thunderbirds are people often say, like in California, they're reported to be there's a certain kind of bird. It's like a California condor. They're said to be the California condor out there, you know.
That bird is huge.
But the wingspan and the reports of thunderbirds have been said to like take children away and stuff like that too. So
wow.
So yeah, guys, it's Mental Monday. We've been talking all kinds of like psychiatric nightmares and like crazy patients and all kinds of fun stuff. If you guys have any stories you want to talk out, we've been talking phobias as well.
Yeah.
You know,
I think we got about what?
Like a little over 10 minutes of the show left. Yeah. So like
10,
less than 15, like between 10 15 minutes. Yeah.
So throw another story out for you guys. We'll happy to read it on here. I'm sure everyone will see it. So
I'm going to talk about the one last story I have for Mental Monday. Okay. So
little kids in Native American mythology.
So, this is the story of the town that danced itself to death. Okay. So, Strasboro was a town, and apparently, this is in their historical records in 1518. A case of dancing mania occurred in Strasboro, Alsace, now modern-day France, in the Holy Roman Empire in July 1518. Somewhere between 50 and 400 people took to dancing for days. What happened is that they think was something in the fungi, and it was maybe something related to like what we were talking about in the Salem trial, where like it was like the fungi that was LSD acid is derived from. They think maybe something like that, but the people danced for days and were just like unable to control it and just kept going and going and going. And it's reported that 60 to 100 and something people died of exhaustion. All these people were under some kind of trance spell, or like we say, like the fungi, some kind of thing, putting them in like a psychoactive state.
That has a lot of that. If you go, how long did they say they dance for?
A couple of days, yeah.
A couple of days?
Yeah.
So do you think you continue?
Some people can't even handle 2 hours at the club, you know?
Oh, no. 2 days?
A couple of days, yeah.
Rick says, have you ever experienced black-eyed children before?
Never.
Never.
I wouldn't want to say I wouldn't want to, but man, like getting some evidence of them would be spectacular.
I mean, we talked about this, how there was black eye sightings over in Helltown, Ohio. I always, when I'm filming out there, always check my back, make sure they're not creeping up on you, or see weird children from a distance. Just don't talk to them.
Yeah.
Just don't talk to them. Don't invite them in, because mostly the cases are the houses they knock on, or their car doors. Then they always have to ask permission if they can come in or sit down.
They're going to hang all the witches for that one.
Linda says, I would visit my uncle at the nut house when I was a kid. It was horrible. Yeah, the situations back then were not sufficient enough. I mean, I talked a little bit about how institutionalized they were back then and how they had to make up all these rules and still wasn't enough for all these. It'll be overcrowding and lobotomies and electric shock therapy. I know there was aqua therapy where it crazy. Almost sounds like torture more than help.
Yeah, for sure.
Mass panic 2 crowd mentality. What witch did they hang for that one? For that, I think she may be talking about the dancing all night.
Oh yeah, no, there wasn't any wishes related to it. Unfortunately, there was.
I don't think they could have. They figured
it was. I think once things settled down, they probably assessed the damage and just tried to move past it, you know, because they couldn't figure out what happened. But later reports, and it's the same thing with Salem, you know, showed that like the potential of like certain fungi in the water system might have led to it because there was like psychoactive properties.
They got wells and stuff. In what time frame was that? Did you see?
Oh, I did say it.
Oh, okay. I just want to see the time frames.
Yeah, that was in 1518 that happened.
Dude, that was before Salem.
Yep.
And that was over Europe.
And Tanya was saying there's a cool documentary about the person who invented lobotomy, the doctor who invented lobotomy.
Oh, I know. I was gonna print that out earlier and put it in my little book, but I didn't have time and I forgot about it. But yeah, I know which one you're referring to there, Tanya. I know all about that guy.
Yeah.
That guy.
Are you guys buddies?
No.
Did you guys hang out in college?
Maybe in a past life.
What if you were like best friends, man?
That would be.
What if you guys saw each other pee? Like that'd be weird.
I'm not playing swords, no.
Don't cross the streams.
Don't cross the streams. Get that freaking lobotomy needle out. Yeah.
Lobotomized. Oh, Chris. No, I got it. All right. New Chris.
Yeah, okay. Once you get that armed, then we'll talk about new Chris.
We're going to get the robot. It's coming, dude. Like, we're going to get there.
It's a mail order from Wish.
What we'll do is we'll do a GoFundMe, and we'll just try to get like $1 billion to have Elon Musk special make you an arm.
Just like that truck.
Yeah, like the Cybertruck.
Cybertruck. Go anywhere.
Yeah, I want to have a Cybertruck.
People look at you like, what are you driving? Get the fuck away. I'll drive everywhere I want.
So do we have a couple last stories before we get out here for the night, guys?
Got about 5 more minutes. Throw it down.
It's still Mental Monday.
It's still Mental Monday. And we haven't decided about Wednesday yet, so.
Yeah, well, you guys know we pop it out there.
Yeah, we do.
We always have something crazy we have in order for you.
Whatever you want, Lindsay. Follower Friday. Yeah, that's a staple on Friday, though.
Well, Charlene was saying she thinks the Mayans bored in heads. Not sure if it was for medical or reasons or something else. Medical or religious, there's multiple things that could have been related to.
That could, because they did a lot of sacrificial, too. Back then as well. They believed that they sacrificed certain peoples, like, to the gods.
Oh, Rick threw something out. Do you want to read that, or do you want me to read that?
Go for it.
Okay. Has anyone ever been to the 1886 Crescent Hotel in Eureka Springs, Arkansas? Arkansas. Oh, gosh. I've said that joke a bunch of times to where now it's how I say Arkansas. Yeah. Sorry, I like to make the joke Arkansas to people, so now I just say Arkansas instead of Arkansas. Anyways, Arkansas area before. The place had some dark history when it was ran, and is also a cancer hospital ran by Norman Baker from 1937 to 1940. Highly active with paranormal. No, I've never been out there. I've never been to Arkansas in general. I'm not well traveled, unfortunately, yet, but I'm making a lot of plans for future travel.
I've been through Missouri, Texas, the Panhandle of Oklahoma, up there on the upper part of Texas. Of course, I've been to San Antonio with basic training in the Air Force.
Man, and Tanya's talking about like the danger pour acid and the heads of live victims, and that's just yeah. All right, good night, Mom. I love you.
Good night, Tyler's mom. Dahmer, yeah, we talked about Dahmer a lot.
Yeah, we definitely were talking about some Dahmer and just like the parts in the freezer and everything like that.
Oh my gosh. Who can forget about that guy? Oh my gosh.
You guys have been wonderful tonight, by the way.
It's been crazy.
So many fun conversations.
Mental and craziness and
Mental Monday has been very peaceful for my mental.
Yeah. It's just what these people went through back then, especially with mental illnesses or so-called mental illness, how we just throw these people away back then. We're just going to send you over here. Don't care.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. It's ridiculous.
And some of those old, speaking of hospitals, some of those old tuberculosis.
Good night, Charlena.
Good night, Charlena. All those old tuberculosis hospitals got turned into mental places too, because they cured the tuberculosis. They needed a use for the hospital, so most of them turned into some mental facilities.
Well, and that's what you got to do. You got to repurpose things,
You got to repurpose, and there's a lot of, that's the other part of certain hospitals' history that lead into the hauntings.
God damn it, Joe. Arkansas and their neighbor Oklahoma. I'm sorry, I can't. I fuck things up sometimes. But Joe, you were the best with the fucking he. There's sometimes I just I get bummed out if Joe's not in the show right away, because I'm like, oh, he better get here because I know that some jokes are gonna be coming.
There's always jokes with the Joe, the Joester.
The Joester.
The Joester, like the jokester. I was late with no homework. Well, we forgive you, Tanya. It's okay.
It's no big deal. I mean, you're always good with conversation.
You and Joe can get together on the next excuse for the next assignment. The cat and the dog. Cat dog. That was a good cartoon. Anyway.
Oh, man. And Venetius, thank you for checking in. Hey, man. If you, I think I said it before, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, but if you go by anything else, if you go by like Vinny, anything like that, man, let us know, because if you're going to be popping into the show regularly, we definitely want to make sure we're calling you the right thing.
Because he popped in yesterday for the live feed.
Yeah.
And I saw him and I invited him to the page. So, because I was rewatching.
So if you go by whatever, just let us know. We always want to make sure we're calling you by the right thing.
Just like Tanya.
Yeah, Tanya, we might have butchered her name a little bit.
We butchered her name at the beginning. She forgives us. Joe, we are punished. Not too bad. Sorry.
No, we'll never punish you guys. You guys are awesome. You guys are our favorites. I wore a tie for you guys tonight, okay?
I wear my usual. It says 1983. I don't know where this came from. It's old, just like I am. It says 83. Then the Cleveland Indians up there on the head.
You know, Dave and Randy one day are gonna like fucking kick your ass for saying you're old because they're way older than you.
No, I'm not gonna do that. Even Joe might kick my ass because he's older than some. Most of you might be older than me.
Cool. Thanks, Venetius.
You do it well. See,
I hope so. Like I'm always one of those people who like has anxiety about pronouncing somebody's name wrong. But for the night, guys, it's about that time. So we're gonna get ourselves out of here.
Oh yeah, it's about that 2-hour mark, guys.
Yep. So we appreciate you guys checking it out, and check us back on Wednesday for the live show at the same time, 9:30 Eastern time. We go live, and also check us tomorrow. I think we'll be doing a short live feed when we go out if we do find the spot.
We do find a spot.
So check us out for sure. Night, guys. Night on YouTube.